Control is a third-person action-adventure game developed by Remedy and published by 505 Games. To call this game just an action-adventure game does seem a little bland, but that is the genre it fits best into. Anyways, what's up guys, Wolf Eat Dinner here with another review, and today, as you can guess, we will be talking about Control. This game has a lot going on for it, and actually there is quite a bit of trivia behind it. I may make a did you know of sorts on this game at a later time if this video is received well enough. Now, I can't really get too much into the game's story, not only because I want anyone who's interested to experience this for themselves, but also because the game's storytelling is outlined by a thematic genre known as the New Weird. If you don't know anything set in this style off the top of your head, here are some frequenters of this. Lovecraft, Robert Bloch, Joe R. Lansdale, and Neil Gaiman, to mention a few. This genre is a combination of traditional horror and speculative fiction elements that are being merged beyond those genres' boundaries. What I can give you is this. In Control, you play as Jessie Faden, a woman with severe past traumas that come to light throughout the course of the game. Your playground is known only as the Oldest House, a brutalist skyscraper that is home to an ever-enigmatic group known as the Federal Bureau of Control. How you wound up here will only be answered with time, and with your arrival, something sinister too has come. Unlikely as it would be, it appears that it is now your job to stop a powerful threat and unravel your mysteries and the FBCs alike. The game is stunning and has plenty of non-linear areas for you to explore, kind of like a Metroidvania. This is one of the first games that I can think of that takes full advantage of this generation's new ray tracing technology. This game is playable in 4K, but I did not check my frame rates. I do believe they were 60 frames per second at their highest, but keep in mind this was all done on a PS4 Pro. The game has amazing physics, but all this combined did lead to several noticeable stutters in my playthrough. My best guess is to run this game without stutters at the intentional highest settings, you will need a god tier computer. From all reports, while the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro do take advantage of the most beautiful aspects of this game, the hectic firefights and ever-changing beautifully lit environments can really bog performance down. I don't want this to scare anyone away from playing this game though, because these times were few and far between and they were never so severe that it directly affected my gameplay. As for the story, while avoiding all spoilers, I can let you guys know that it is truly wonderful. This game has its fair share of action, but in my playthrough I found myself oftentimes outside of the action exploring areas to the fullest and seeing what the game had to offer apart from gameplay. There are several Easter eggs in this game and more than a couple of nods to a previous Remedy protagonist who had a bad habit of rewriting reality. This game was heavily inspired by the fan-written SCP articles online. I will link that wiki below as there are a ton of cool things in there as well. The story, while completely wonderful, delivers only a fraction of the game. The characters you interact with are all unique and have full dialogues to explore. And further finding out who they are is really fun, and it's just honestly a good time. One aspect that I found it hard to overlook is that when looking at the game as a whole, the developers have made something that makes you feel very grandiose at the end of it all. I really have to say that not since 2018's God of War have I felt so immersed in a game. So there's been a ton of gameplay in the background, and while I'm definitely going to talk about combat, I want to mention how fun traversal is. You start off with a basic sprint and a simple jump, and to be honest, I was not prepared for what the game threw at me after. You will get access to a cool dodge move that allows you to dodge enemy attacks, as well as clear gaps you couldn't before. Then, sometime after that, the game gives you the full-on ability to levitate, and I don't mean like David Blaine either. All I can say is get ready to yeet yourself some places. There are a ton of puzzles to be solved in this game as well, and none of them are ever so hard that they detract from the full experience, but some will stump most players for a moment. I've talked about the environment, and that's also a huge part of puzzle solving. The game never drops you somewhere where there aren't clues if you just take a moment and observe your surroundings. Sound design in this game is an ambient hallmark. It is quiet when it needs to be, frenetic when it needs to be, and all the while is really, really well done. There's also a song in the late game that will make you feel full-blown nuts. Blowing bad guys to high hell accompanied to this song is so awesome. You'll know it when you get there. Combat is amazing. There is not an overwhelming amount of abilities, coming in at a whopping 6 across the board, but where the fun lies is combining all of these skills to suit your playstyle. This game allows you to do that to great effect. Outside of combat abilities, you have access to a weapon that has 5 vastly different firing modes to help you in a variety of situations. While you can only have 2 equipped at one time, you can always go into your menu and change them almost on the fly. To further augment this, you have both personal and weapon mods that allow you to diversify the way you play even more. Whether you're a defensive player or a full-blown John Woo hero, there is a loadout for you. While I did gripe a little bit earlier about the frame per second issue, there was only one part of the game that truly bothered me. There were 2 boss fights with the same boss that had the ability to knock the floor out from under you. To be honest, it felt just a bit cheap at times, but with how many positive combat scenarios and boss encounters that there were that were just so much fun in the game, it's far from a true takeaway from the overall experience. If you need further reason to collect resources outside of the main game, there are some really fun side missions that will keep you going, as well as objective-based challenges that reward mods known as board countermeasures. There are a ton of independent sources of lore in this game, and if you like reading that outside of the game to glimpse into the world, it is done really well here, and you will have a blast gleaning more information on locations and characters. Now, I do want to speak about the voice acting in this game. The voice acting is phenomenal, and the game uses Remedy's Northlight engine, which was present in its previous game, Quantum Break. You will see some really cool implementations of that. I've already stated that it's stunningly beautiful, but there are these crazy times where they use a mix of real-world environments and real-world people in the game, and it's just done really awesome. And it's one of those things that makes the game feel unique in a market that doesn't really have a ton of uniqueness, if I'm being honest. There are also a handful of cosmetic outfits in the game that you can get your hands on. While they don't do anything character specific, it is fun to change up your style every now and then. Something to be aware of is that this game does have 2 larger DLC packs coming its way with all new story elements and some free add-ons as well. The first being a completely new in-game challenge mode according to the developers. It took me 24 hours to get 100% in this game, and none of it felt like a chore. All sources that go for 100% usually report about 25 to 30 hours, so it is a fairly lengthy single-player experience. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to give Control a 10 out of 10. It was a masterpiece. I personally can't wait to see what the new content entails, and I will be along for the ride wherever this game chooses to go. Let me know in the comments what you think about this game. Have you played it? Would you like to see a trivia video about this game? Who's your favorite SCP? Let me know. Until next time, guys, thanks so much for sticking around. Wolf Eat Dinner, once again, much love. See you then.